All right, today I want to highlight a killer solo that John did during his very first full band performance since April 28th of 2022, the last show on the Sob Rock Tour. It's been over 3 years since we've seen John actually perform with his full band. And so with this new era of John Mayer's music, gear, everything beginnings, as what I'm certainly calling it, I'm really excited to be covering all of the tones, solos, the gear, on the channel. It's just a really exciting time. And we're starting off with, I guess I just feel like solo from September 26th in Youngstown, Ohio. The very first show we've seen John do with his full band in over 3 years. Absolutely crazy that it's been that long. That's why I'm so excited. And I guess I just feel like solo, especially this more kind of modern version of it, where John does a very Jeff Beck inspired solo, is always really, really cool to me to see. So we're going to take a listen to this solo, and then I'll talk about the gear that John was using afterwards, after we take a listen to this. Just really, just John's back. It just makes me so happy. So let's take a listen. When I first saw and listened to this solo, it was just so cool to really feel like John is back in terms of performing with his full band. And these, I guess I just feel like performances are always really special to me because I got to see John switch things up for the very first time during the Sob Rock Tour on March 13th in Los Angeles. That was the very first, I guess I just feel like, solo where he didn't rely on the Silver Sky or that Buffon Casino. No, he brought out the Charvel San Dimas. And I remember from where my girlfriend and I were standing, like watching him perform, kind of the side of the stage right beside it, I could see Jeremy behind the amplifiers holding the Charvel, ready to hand it to John once it came for the transition for the solo. And I was like, oh my God, what's he doing? This is uncharted territory. Like, it's not what you would expect for, I guess I just feel like. So these performances are always kind of special to me because I just always, that solo, hearing John play it in that more Jeff Beck style for the very first time is always burned in my brain because I just remember watching it live thinking, holy crap, this is so insane. This is so wild. So I always now really just, I'm very fond of John performing it. I guess I just feel like this way just because I got to experience it live in such a really, really cool way. Okay, so the guitar that John was using for the solo, if you guys have been following the channel, you should be pretty familiar with. It's his custom shop Charvel San Dimas, a really rad guitar. I absolutely love it. Definitely one of those ones when John kind of wants to channel his inner Jeff Beck using the Floyd Rose. It's one that he will use for those kind of tones and that kind of playing style that he goes for. Especially, I guess I just feel like solo, John has really started to rely on those kind of guitars and his Jacksons as well, just to kind of change things up and change the way he kind of approaches the solo in that style. Now, as for the pedals that John would have been using for this performance, I actually have enough shots and everything to know exactly what is on the entire pedal board, but I'm saving that for another video, especially hoping that with a couple more shows that John is doing over the weekend, we get just a little bit of better photos that I can use to show you guys. But I know exactly what was on the pedal board, but I'm just holding out a little bit longer to make a full gear breakdown for all of these performances. But it would have been the Shinai Companion Psychedelic Amplifier Machine. The Super Fuzz circuit would be what John was primarily using for the tone for this solo. He has a Keeley True Bypass Looper on the pedal board, which is what would be activating one of those that you can see in the rack. There'll be a shot on the screen where you can see two of them in the actual rack unit behind his amplifier. So then, most likely what he was doing was using the TS10 on top of the Psych Machine to just kind of smooth out the fuzz a little bit more. It's something that John has been doing in the past for this performance. I guess I just feel like the kind of style with the fuzz tone, and it's probably what he was doing again here. And the other thing that you hear during this solo is delay, especially at the beginning. It is very clear, and this would be the Korg STD 3000 PDL. It seems to be John's go-to delay now for anything that's not the slapback from the Aquapus. So this is the primary delay that is on John's board currently, so that's what he would have been using for the just longer delays that you're hearing throughout the entire solo. So that's kind of also something that's going on for that. Sometimes John will use delay for, I guess I just feel like there's a few examples where you can hear it. Other times doesn't seem to really rely on it. It's kind of something that he'll use just depending on the vibe and what he's feeling on any given night, especially during like the Sob Rock and 2019 World Tour tours at least. So that's kind of what's going on there in terms of the pedals and just the basics, what you would expect for, I guess I just feel like. And the last thing is the amplifiers, which haven't changed from the rehearsal show, which I made a video covering as well. And I'll go into them a little bit more in depth in the gear video from all of the performances from this weekend as well. But we have the Fender Bandmaster, Dumble Steel String Singer 002, and the 2-Rock Custom Reverb Signature 83, all on JMod style cabinets, 112s and a 212 for the Steel String Singer. That amp setup stayed exact same from that rehearsal show and could very well be John's go-to full band amp setup going forward. So if you guys have any great footage that you've taken, if you've been at these shows, any great shots, anything like that, please send them over to me on Instagram at JustinJeskiGuitar, because I'm trying to wait for some better footage to come out as well, better shots of the gear and everything to make that full gear breakdown really in-depth video. But I have a backup plan in case In case there aren't any better shots of John's board, especially, I've done a mock-up on Photoshop of exactly what it looks like, piecing together all the little angles and just side shots that you get of it where you can actually paint a full picture of it. I have a backup plan in case we don't get any better shots that actually do come out, but if you guys have really great footage of the solos, especially in their entirety, I found like bits and pieces here and there of like the last like third of the slow dancing outro solo, and it's like, okay, I kind of want the whole thing to be able to talk about, especially like the more unique part of it, not just John playing the main kind of outro lines that he does at the end of the solo, things like that. So if you guys have footage from the show, if you see anything, please send it over to me on Instagram. It's always greatly appreciated. Take care, everyone. I'll see you on the next video.
Anyway, go ahead and click the subscribe button if you like what you see.